Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 88. All right.
Sorry, I was just really into that, Like every week it's, never ends.
Welcome back, everybody. And as you can possibly tell already, if you watch this show regularly, I'm on location right now. So hopefully it's sounding okay. I'm a little bit out of my element. And as always, or at least half the time, JT's out of his element. Yeah, exactly.
Technical difficulties this week. My ring light went out. Jay's computer's not behaving. Nico's like somewhere in the world.
What would this show be without that? And welcome back. I'm your host, Nico, and aka the Ghost of Harrenhal today, because we can't get enough of those ghosts. I know Jay can. It's the best. 3 episodes of it. It's the best thing ever. This Ghost of Harrenhal storyline's great. It's not. But anyways, JT is our other co-host here, and of course our other co-host, Christina, aka Barbecue Charred Chicken.
So I had for dinner.
Okay. or is that what he was eating in that scene? I can't recall. Is that what is that just what you just wanted to call yourself, Barbecue Charred Chicken? Or
I was just, trying to, really pray for Aegon, and just,
Oh, please.
That's what you're calling barbecue charred chicken. It's terrible.
Damon was deciding between duck and goose. His palate is a little bit more refined than the dirt bird.
Right. That's right. Although he's not hungry. So yeah, welcome back, everybody. If this is your first time tuning in, this is our Game of Thrones overview show where we go episode by episode. We started just roughly over a year ago, me and JT. JT had never seen Game of Thrones, so we went back and I rewatched the show for the first time. We talked about it episode by episode. Christina joined us a whole bunch. She's basically been the third co-host for quite some time now, at least the last 30 episodes, I feel like, as we've transitioned from the end of Game of Thrones into House of the Dragon now. And we figured we start doing these shows live, because we did them pre-recorded before for the weeks of the new season of House of the Dragon as it comes out, to join in hopefully with everybody else on the conversation of these episodes as they air. And today's episode that we're going to be talking about is called Regent. House of the Dragon season 2 episode 5. They're really making these episode names difficult for me to find online. Like the day after, everyone's just making up episode names, I feel like, because they don't actually know the official name. It takes about 2 days to get the actual name, I feel like, after the show airs. Yeah, because the next day everyone's doing the recap posts on these whatever sites that are following this. Whatever, name a site, they have a recap of it, the New York Times or whatever, Esquire, Forbes, yeah. So they do a write-up of it, and each one of these places has their own name for the episode. They're like season 2 episode 5, and they just have the title because they haven't really been releasing them, I feel like, to spoil. So it stops it from spoiling the episode for folks. I think some of the more literal ones, right? So I always have a fun time looking up the episode because I see 7 different ones the day after of the episode, right? So, but yeah, Christina, go ahead. Why don't you do your thing? Because you're actually going to be doing the notes here today because I'm on location. Thank you for that.
No problem. I'm the note master. So I guess, we always start the show off. We start the show off with opening thoughts. Nico, let's go to you first, because you're the one always asking us the question. So let's hear from you first.
I told you a bit of this before we started recording. You somewhat know my thoughts on this. I feel like a lot of the chatter that I had seen after the episode aired, because I didn't watch it until Monday, and it airs on Sunday on HBO, for anybody who out there that doesn't know. So I kind of heard like this may have been a filler episode. And then I also was like, yeah, you know what? This is the 5th episode out of 8 episodes in the season. Usually that's the time that you might get a filler episode just to move the story along as it gets into those last couple of episodes that are going to close up the season and big things happen. So then, I ended up watching it, and I gotta say there was some really, really solid scenes in this episode. I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm super into it at the moment, which I am, but I think like there was not only some important scenes, but some really, really good scenes, like some of the best scenes of like one-on-one kind of conversations and confrontations that have occurred, I think, in the show so far this season. So I was actually really pleased with this episode, honestly, and I think this kind of felt a little bit more like Game of Thrones, if that makes any sense. Like instead of House of the Dragon, this felt like a lot of the intrigue and things that have been happening to these, like a lot of the situations that these characters are in and the conversations that they're having with one another. There's a lot of drama going on right now in this show. So I think we finally got to experience some of that in the scenes in this episode. So I really thought it was a solid episode, despite what some people are saying about it being a filler. Yeah.
Jay, what about you?
I fucking love it. I mean, especially all that Harrenhal stuff that's going on, man. You know me. I'm all into that Harrenhal stuff, man.
The one thing that Nico and I dislike the most, but of course,
yes,
we're not talking about the tree, so yeah, I'm like Nico. Like at first glance, I also watched it on Monday for the first time. It was like, okay, filler episode, whatever. But then upon watching it again and making the notes for it, I was like, wow, there's a lot of content. Like for an episode that didn't have a lot of action per se, like I have like 17 pages of notes. So buckle in, everybody. We're in for a ride.
I thought I was bad.
A dragon ride.
There you go. So, yeah, no, but I agree with you. Just one more thing, I agree with you about the Ghost of Harrenhal thing. That's my least favorite of the storylines. Like everyone's got to have one, and there's always one where you don't love it. And despite some things again happening in those scenes, which were good in this episode, I just don't like the idea of Daemon being sidelined in Harrenhal for 3 episodes. Like if they were going to do it to us, they could have just did it for 2 episodes. 1 episode even. Like this is too much now. Like, and this looks like the rest of the season he's going to be there unless they make up, which they allude to in this episode. But like, I can't with this. Like I hate this. Like I hate dream sequences type stuff. I hate these like, this guy's going to trip out for 3 episodes on us. I don't know. It's just too much. But anyways,
this was actually like I don't like the ghost thing either. But like this was the first episode where it's like, oh, there's actual content being like expressed. His true intentions are being expressed in this episode. So
well, keep this in mind. Why does everybody want Harrenhal? Okay, let's just remember that for the rest of the season.
It's in a position of like it's in the best position. Yeah, power.
But it's the best position to hold, but everybody wants it. So there's got to be a reason that they're there. There's got to be something, man. So we'll have to figure it out.
It's funny when I was looking up something today, because I was trying to see how to spell Harrenhal just to make sure I had my name correct here on the screen. I came across something that reminded me, which I guess I had forgotten, that there is an episode of Game of Thrones that's literally called The Ghost of Harrenhal, which is the 5th episode of the 2nd season.
Oh, that's okay. That's when Arya is like, they're interrogating people with the rats, right? Is that...
Possibly. I didn't look into like what the episode was about, but Renly Baratheon is on this episode. Like this is like early on. This is the 2nd season.
Renly Baratheon. Oh my god, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
There's a funny thing about this one though. This episode is that like it's kind of funny because if you go back and listen to our Game of Thrones, apparently from what I've heard, like our episodes that we did there, I can tell you right now. It basically spoils everything for this season and stuff with you. And that's what I don't want to go back and listen to it because you basically heard this story before told in
bits and pieces. Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So The premise, sorry, the this episode was Tyrion investigates a secret weapon that King Joffrey plans to use against Stannis. Meanwhile, as a token for saving his life, Jaqen H'ghar offers to kill 3 people that Arya chooses. That's this episode. Tyrion investigates a secret weapon that King Joffrey plans to use against Stannis. Yeah, so that's the Ghost of Harrenhal episode. So of Game of Thrones. I just thought that was interesting, and also very quickly before we start, there's I saw today on an Instagram page that said that a Game of Thrones spinoff about the Targaryen conquest of Westeros is now currently in the works.
Oh,
I heard about that.
So they're talking about like the doom of Valyria. Like they're talking about that.
Yeah, I go.
So that's
Yeah,
another
so
prequel?
yes, I believe so. Yeah. So yeah,
The people have spoken. We love the Targaryens.
and somebody in the comments here put Balerion the Dread, baby, and then somebody else says we want Robert's Rebellion.
Oh yeah, Robert's Rebellion. We definitely need one of those. We definitely
Yeah.
The
need
Mad King. He's something with the Mad King too and stuff, right? So
that.
Oh.
Robert's Rebellion. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, because when we start the show, he's already on the throne at that time, right? We don't really know about anything that got him there. Also, an interesting tidbit. I just want to throw this out, sort of step all over your start of the show here, but I saw it interesting. Another Instagram post that was interesting that said, since House of the Dragon is set 172 years before Game of Thrones, Melisandre could be around and show up on the show, right? Because she's 400 years old on Game of Thrones. So that means that she's actually around during this period of time because of how old she is, right?
Well, let me ask you a question. There is some girl with that red thing at the end. So if you guys could tell me who she was for
she
any
was
of this
Rhaenyra's
stuff that's trying to
servant.
get in. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure 100%. So
And so that's kind of interesting, I thought, because I'm like, I think that's just something that we know that we didn't really put 2 and 2 together, that there's a possibility that she could be the only character that could cross over technically on both shows if they really want, if there was a possibility that she's part of this story. Right, so that's kind of interesting if you think about it, because that's the only character that actually is that old that we've met, other than like the Ice, the what's his name, Ice King.
Could it be the river chick?
No, it's not. It's not the Alice girl that's in here right now. The witch woman that's on it now, though, that's somebody else, right? So, and also, one final thing. So that's interesting. Something to think about. I do want to premiere I just got it a couple of hours ago. Julie, of course, one of our co-hosts on Late Night Chat here on the Late Night Chat Network and appears on other shows as well. She made an artwork, a new piece of artwork for our episode, our shows here for Watching the Throne. So it will be the thumbnail now on some of the episodes, or for the playlist on our channel from when I do the post. So I just want to share that with you guys here.
Because we had her going with that whole fucking AI thing yesterday. It was getting her mind going with that whole, what was that program that she uses?
There it is. There's our new thumbnail.
Wow.
There's our new thumbnail there, Watching the Throne. There you go.
Beautiful, Julie.
Insane.
Yeah. So I think she did a great job on it. So you guys might see that on posts now on Instagram or on our playlist. If you guys check out our episodes, that's our new episode art for this show here, because we've done almost 90 of these things, so I think it's deserving of its own episode art, like the rest of our shows now at this point, right? So there you go.
I love it.
Shout out,
I love
yeah,
it.
shout out to Julie, and thanks for that. So yeah, go ahead.
She's like, where was I?
Yeah.
So we're gonna start out. Number one, I have to say straight off the bat, there were so many beautiful cinematography scenes like in this episode, especially the first 2 that opened up. We open up with this beautiful like over the water look of Driftmark, and Corlys is walking to his seat on Driftmark. He's obviously visibly upset. He's crying. He
sheds a tear.
He sheds a tear. His wife has just died.
Subtle.
So he's very, very upset. We go up, and then they have a juxtaposed like shot of Rhaenyra looking up. She looks beautiful. You guys know how much I love Emma Darcy.
Yeah.
But her character Rhaenyra looks fantastic, also super sad, super solemn, looking out over the water in deep thought. And then they have an aerial shot of Dragonstone. Fantastic opening,
Yeah.
beautiful. Then we go right to King's Landing, and we're in with the common folk. There's one person who's shopping for food, and there's a lot of rotten fruit, scarce goods. They're fighting over baskets of food. You can tell that there's just a lot of discomfort and disarray amongst the common folk. It's getting a little wild with the limited resources. But along as they're panning into the common folk, we hear trumpets and one of the King's Guard announce, they're parading the dragon head Meleese's dragon head, sorry, through the streets, and they're like, "Behold, like the traitor Meleese, slain by our
That's why I'm
king."
not Cole anymore.
And Kristen Cole and Gwyn Hightower are leading this parade of whatever, and the common folk are looking on pretty like either like this is a bad omen. I think one of them even mentions like this is a bad
It's a black.
omen.
They said
The
it's a
blacksmith,
black
right?
omen. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah, the
it's a
black
black
omen.
omen. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's lots of whispers and horror. There's amazement. Anyway, so Kristen is actually a little
Cocky.
perplexed why this isn't eluding like the type of response that he was expecting. But
Well, oh yeah, he's like, they do know we won the battle, right? And like, meanwhile, it's just like, yeah, but you're parading a mythical creature around, like it's some sort of, you know what I mean? Like it's a bad look. It's everyone's hating on it, right? Like this scene.
also, this is like it's the same sigil of your king. Like I know it's of the traitor, but it's the same. It's a dragon. Like what are you
Well,
doing?
that's what I mean. Like these people like worship the dragons, basically, right? They're like family to them, and he's parading her around, right? Like, yeah, it's not a good look. Yeah.
Yeah, so while this is happening, the camera pans to like a shot of what looks like a like crate of stuff with tattered rags and blankets and whatever, just thrown over it, and like Aegon is obviously in there, but they're not going to announce that Aegon is in there because they don't want people to know how badly injured their king is, if he's even alive, who knows, but he's in there. But they must keep him hidden. The blacksmith appears. We see him again. He's with somebody else, maybe an apprentice. And the apprentice says, as he looks onto Meleese's head, was like, "Oh, I thought dragons were gods." And the blacksmith drops this line. He's like, "It's just meat."
Yeah.
And,
But is he wrong?
I don't
At
know.
the end
I
of the day, they're hungry, man.
dragons-
Everything is just meat.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, right? They're starving, so it's like I don't know if this is gonna go well for
Anybody.
Aegon and whatever.
Read the room, Cole.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it was very quiet. You'd think they'd be cheering, right? Like that's what they wanted, right? Is them to be cheering or something. But they, it's kind of fucked up.
Yep. Aemond and Alicent are watching from up high in the Red Keep. Alicent notices that Aemond has Cat's Claw, the dagger that the kings hold on to.
Before they pan up to that, they still got the rat catchers hanging there in that seat. That was fucking crazy that they're still there. Like,
yeah, they do.
We just went through a whole war.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so they're up there, they're looking out on the procession. They see that the cart or the crate that's holding Aegon is veered off away from the parade and down like a secret passage. Aemon looks like smug as all can be. Like he doesn't look unbothered, unfazed at what has just happened at all. But Alicent walks away, obviously, toward Aegon's chambers. So the next scene, it shows them the Kingsguard bringing Aegon into his chambers. It was super dramatic, and again, the cinematography was like really well done. Like the music was really somber. I don't know, just 10 out of 10 out of 10 like placement scene, because at this point we don't know if he's alive or if he's dead or what the hell is happening. So it was kind of like what's happening. They bring him into his room, and his Kingsguard take out Dark Sister, the sword that he carries. So immediately you're like, oh God, is he dead? Like, what is this? They put it on the table. And then, funnily enough, like they lift him out of the crate like a sack of potatoes. They don't even take him out in like a beautiful like regalia, whatever. No, like he's literally in a sack like a potato. Like it was funny like how they took him out of there.
When
But
you pick up
anyway,
dead weight though on the ground from that, that's kind of like
he's
the way
the
you do it. And have
king.
you ever seen that?
He's the
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
king.
JT just got picked up like a sack of potatoes the other day when he collapsed. He could tell you all about it, and he weighs about the amount of a sack of potato.
It's true, man. It was no, but I've seen it physically. Like they just put the sheet underneath you and they'll lift you up like that, man. They have to. It's a lot easier than any other way. But
It's
that's
just
besides the point.
I don't know. Anyways, like it was funny to me. I was like, wow, this is
I'm the ghost of
embarrassing for
Harrenhal
him.
tonight, buddy.
Yeah, you really are. Look at you.
Like
Alicent
this.
has now entered the room. She's looking on. I don't know. I kind of feel like she looks a little guilty, worried. It's her son, but I think she's a little guilty, especially after knowing that like she put him there.
Right.
I don't know. She walks up to the bed and then asks the Grand Maester, who is readily, with all of his other maesters, trying to take off all of this melted on armor, and asks if he's alive. And he says, the king is still with us for the moment. So now we know Aegon is not dead, as presumed, but he is worse for wear. There's a view of the top of his head. He is completely charred, like a piece of chicken. He is like the maesters, they start working on him. There's one that's like has like grape leaves or cabbage leaves or something. They're soaking it in an ointment or something. I don't know
It looked
what
like it looked like lettuce. I was like, what is that?
yeah, like I don't know,
Probably
just
aloe vera or
something.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know, something. And they're trying to put it on him. They're trying to they're peeling off the chest
Did you
plate.
hear it?
Oh, like the sound effects in this season are incredible. Like whoever did the
A1.
sound.
Yeah.
I think he's basically gonna follow in the footsteps of his father now. Honestly, like he's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like about how bad he was towards the end in terms of like his skull was exposed and stuff like that. Like I don't think it's gonna heal. I don't know who knows how he's gonna heal from these burns here. I don't know.
I don't know. And then yeah, not only the sound, but then the broken bone. They reset his shin bone.
That was gross.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was gross. That was gross for sure.
Just
But
gross.
they did it cool. Like they got really into the technicals with this stuff. They didn't fuck around. Like
No,
these
like
guys.
they showed a cesarean. They cut a baby out of a woman. Like they're not gonna shy
Exactly,
away from a little burn and broken bone here,
I know. And now they don't just show any nudity at all. Fuck.
Aemond appears, and he's looking over his bed, Aegon's bed, and instead of asking how he's doing, says instead like, "Oh, someone will have to rule in his stead." And Alicent looks at him like, "Okay." Kristen. Okay, then the next scene, we're still in the Red Keep. We're in Kristen Cole's chambers, which he seemed pretty advanced. He has some lemon and salt or something, and he's like cleaning off his sword after this battle. I don't know. I didn't realize that. It's
They do that.
Kristen's like YouTube channel, like
Lemon
like
fresh.
home remedies.
Lemon
But
fresh.
Alicent appears. Alicent appears in his chambers and asks him what happened, like on the battlefield, like essentially what went on, like what happened.
Yeah.
He mentions he's just playing super coy, being really Colish.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says, "Oh, the king fought valiantly, and then he fell, and we couldn't wait for his dragon Sunfire to die, so we just left and came home."
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's like, no, like, okay, so great, but like, what part did Aemond have to play in it? And
Right.
again, Kristen Cole's like, I don't know. I didn't see anything. Like, I don't know what happened, which is maybe true. He did get knocked out, so he didn't technically see what happened, but
I think he has a good idea, though. I think he has a good idea, and like you said, he's just playing coy and being like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't know," because clearly, like he knows that the reason he's laid up it has something to do with Amon. I think at the end of the day, the way he found him by his corpse, not his corpse, like the wreckage, the way he acted. I think he knows, right?
yeah.
Like you're right. I don't think he obviously didn't see what happened because he wasn't up in the sky with them. But I think he's putting two and two together.
I don't know. He's just being a ween like he normally is. Like we've all agreed
That's
that
why I
he
took
is.
my name off. I'm sorry, guys. At first he was cool. He was the only one getting laid, but now
Join the club. Join the club. Yeah, just come on. Come on over here, Jay. Agree with us. He sucks.
Welcome. Welcome to the
he
Kristen
started. Yeah,
Cole.
he showed he was a real pussy. Yeah, and I didn't like that in this. Now, like this episode, he really
You
tucked
haven't
his
even
tail
gotten to
between
the
his
worst
legs.
thing you haven't even gotten to the worst thing he did this episode yet. Like
Oh,
this
I
is
know. That's what I mean. It's stuck. It's making me. It's like basically tucking his. I don't like to do that. I like mine to hang low. You know what I mean? I don't tuck my tail between my legs for nobody.
Oh God. Any other thoughts? No, this is just so far. This is
I mean, again, if it wasn't for what happened later, I would be like, obviously this is mild disrespect, to the mother, and not even that, just that someone who is or at least up till now was felt like she was very involved in what was occurring in this, I mean, like in this kingdom. But now after this episode, yeah, not so much. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah.
so. We fly back to Dragonstone, and we're now seated at the or the Black Council. Sorry, with Rhaenyra and her merry band of gentlemen. Sir Alfred is chastising her about her latest loss. He's also so bold as to say that Damon retreated over a marital spat, which is so disrespectful. Like you would, if she was a man, like he would never have said that to him, her, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
so disrespectful.
They
Anyway, she confronts him in that moment and asks what his intentions, you know, um, what his intentions are when with that mention. Anyways, and he says basically the gentler sex doesn't understand the strategies of battle and you know battle and war, but she mic drops and was like, because of Viserys's peaceful reign, no one, including him, has seen more battle
That's
than
right.
she has. I think the quote was, "There has been peace in our lifetime. You've seen no more battles than I have."
Yeah.
Put him back in his place because it's like just because you're a man doesn't mean you know more about anything than I do. So shut up. But
all's
anyway,
on her, man.
she's got to like stand up a little bit. Like she is trying to like reduce the amount of
Still some
carnage like as
power
much as
too.
possible. But at the same time, like these men around her are so bloodthirsty that she's got to like not only fight a war for her succession, she's got to fight the war in her council. Like it's crazy. Like these guys just won't let up.
Yeah.
So then she asks them, like or basically tells them, I guess they have two castles or two lands that are in support of her that are nearby. So she basically asks her men to send supplies and whatever they need there to kind of garrison them up and keep them afloat. But one of her Kingsguard, the same gentleman, I didn't get his name. I
Seen
don't.
one of the places was Cracklaw Point. I thought I heard Cracklaw Point. And I
Yeah,
was like,
something. Yeah, I don't know, but this guy, her
Canadian?
Kingsguard guy that from Duskendale, it's her
Yeah,
his father was beheaded last episode by Kristen Cole, and
yeah.
this Kingsguard person was the one who went with her to King's Landing. I don't remember what his name is. I didn't hear it this time. I don't know, but he basically like interrupts her and says we need to answer for Rook's Rest and his home, Duskendale,
Yeah.
and another one of her council members says that that's a waste to worry about. Like, it's already in the past. It's neither here nor there. They need to attack or worry about Vagar. Vagar has been injured in the battle, so now would be the time to attack because
Yeah.
she's injured. So now would be it.
What did she
and
say?
then
Depleted from the stuff, so I guess she's probably hungry too.
yes, like the dragon is depleted, whatever. But also, if Aegon is dead, like the other thing is, if Aegon is dead or is dying, it's not going to take the High Towers long to put another person on the throne. And so there's obviously unrest. Like, they're not strong right now. So now would be the time to attack.
It's like a divided place right now, really.
Anyway, so she said, fine, then fine. If that's what you want, I'll go myself. And again, they're like, you cannot, like, you are
A woman.
You are the crown. Like, you cannot, which I get, I understand, but it's like, she's got to do something. Like, what else?
No, you're absolutely right, but it's true because they literally keep saying like we need to do something, and when she presents, especially now at this point where she really doesn't have any other options, she's like, well, I got to do it then. And they are right that if she dies, this whole thing goes up in smoke. But like this whole their whole side of what they want in this war is done, like because they don't have anybody to represent them. Even so, she keeps saying to them, what else do you want? Like, this is me doing something. This is me stepping up, doing what needs to be done. And then, yeah, you're right. They just keep going back and forth. I mean, at this point, and it's absolutely frustrating for her. Like, I get that. Like, it's like, you're like, really, what else do you want from me? Like,
they just keep presenting her with problems and no solutions. And so she's like, okay, well, I have a solution. And they're just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't hear you. No, you're a woman. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah, there's a bit of that too, for sure. But like every time she presents a solution, though, then they don't like it. They don't want her to put her neck. Like, she literally just sent her last solution out and she died. Like, so what did they really want, right? So I don't know. It did lead to something though, Christina, at the end of this episode, which we'll get to. But I think you pretty much predicted that. You were actually the one I think that had mentioned that on this show. Out of all three of us, you had brought that up, that possibility, which we'll talk about later. But it's that was good on you because you did call that one. I do recall that.
Maybe I should be queen.
Whoa, Jay, step in, do something.
That was sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah. So next scene, we're still at Dragonstone. Bela, who is, I guess, reading a book in the library or something.
She's cute,
Yeah, she is cute. Yeah, she's cute.
With the white dreads, they're all. They just got that look. I don't know.
Prince Zoolander, I mean Jacaerys, enters, and he's all like,
he's like,
I need to do something. Blue steel. Anyways, he enters and he's all in a tizzy, and she's like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going to Harrenhal to speak to Daemon and figure out where he stands in all of this. And he's obviously visibly upset and anxious about not having a role to play yet in this war and what's happening. He's tired of sitting around and waiting for everyone around him to be sent on tasks, like including Bela, who's his intended wife. He then stopped, and I guess he has this thought. He mentions the phrase at the twins. Now, we as Game of Thrones fans think phrase and we're shudder. I'm like, ooh, no, don't go. But these are different times. They're different people. I don't know. But he says it. He suggests it. He's thinking of ways for.
They're still brother and sister, twins, I think. So they are. It's a little weird already. The phrase there when he goes to see them.
I thought that was a husband-wife.
No,
they call it
twins
because the towers are the same.
Oh, okay.
And they travel across water.
These are the ones that meet on
Okay.
the bridge with him, right? That
Yeah.
are on. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
those
didn't
are
think they
fights.
were. I didn't know they were brother and sister. If that's the
I didn't
case,
know.
yeah, maybe
Okay,
I don't
maybe I
know.
got confused. Sorry, maybe I got confused.
No, they call it the twins. And even in Game of Thrones, they call it the twins because the castles like that is on there. They're
Bridge, yeah,
identical. They're yeah. Um, but
maybe.
anyways, so he's just I guess is strategically thinking of like ways that they can block off like Jason Lannister's armies from going up further and taking more of like Rhaenyra's people. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go to the Freys and ask them to bend the knee to Rhaenyra, whatever. Just
Word.
for
I actually like when I heard the word, I wrote it down because I had to because you get how much times it was said back in the
I
day.
I did too.
what?
The bend of the knee.
Oh,
That's
bend
once
the
again
knee.
mentioned. Yeah, he's like, what else do you want? Bending of knees, of course. They're like, oh, okay. I just again, Jay's right. Every time I hear it now, I just laugh because I'm like, man,
It's Nico's fault.
these guys love bending knees. Like they're like, that's at the end of the day, that's all they want. Like bend that knee when you got yourself a knee.
It's not a bad
You
time,
know,
guys.
I don't know
You
if
know?
that's all it took back then. I know.
It's not a bad time. It's not a bad time.
No handshakes, no nothing. Just bend the knee.
uh anyway, so he has whatever and he basically says, I'm going off, don't tell my mom till I'm gone. And she's like, okay. And then that's that.
Yeah, pretty
Uh,
much.
It's like such the kiddie part of a soap opera. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like, don't tell mommy. And we
Yeah.
have to remember in the books or whatever, Jace is probably like 16 years old. So he's not like old. He is very young. Like he's
And he
quite
just
young.
wants to impress. I think.
Yeah, he feels well, and I mean, to be honest, like if his mom succeeds, he succeeds. So it's kind of like he's fighting for himself too.
I thought, I thought he did a good job in what he did this episode. Honestly, I think for all the shit we've been giving him, he pulled something out of his ass. I don't know how, but he did.
Jawline,
Starting to man
Jawline
up.
did some work. Okay, like he did some work.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's starting to man up. That's the good thing.
His
So,
hair has
so they
gotten
have
better.
Yeah.
The wig isn't so bad. I have to say the wigs this season are like 10,000 times better. The budget has been increased. It is like they heard my cries. They
Yeah.
heard it.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's why that thing that is going around right now about what's her name, Olivia Cook? There's a thing going around, Jay, that I shared with Christina online that people are claiming that her hair is like majority of it is real. There's some extensions in it, but they're saying like her hair is that nice that Allison Hightower is like one of the only people that's not wearing like a
wig.
full out wig on the show right now. Allison. I mean, I was like,
really nice. Or
Allison's. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
thing going around
there is.
online about saying about how they're like, I learned that Olivia Cook is Allison Hightower does not wear a wig. They sometimes add extensions, but that is her real freaking hair. Like apparently that's something going around on the internet right now. Maybe she spoke about it in an interview. I don't know, but
I think the extensions are probably just to fill it so that it looks more full.
yes, well that's what they're
right.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think, but because to have that sort of hair and just to fall down, like I'm not a hair person, but I'm pretty sure I can understand. Yeah.
So
To have that kind of,
sexy.
it just fills it up. It's just to fill it up, like probably in the back to make it bushy. That's probably all it's for because it probably can't get that bushy. I'm just saying. I mean, as not. I mean, but you tell me as a ginger over there, okay, or semi.
Oh, she's so hot. Like she could
Oh
totally
my
turn me
God! I
blue.
don't even.
No, like,
I'm in the car by myself. I'm gonna get trouble, bro. People are gonna look at me going, "What the fuck's wrong with this guy? He's talking to himself with his hand in his pants."
I told you.
All I'm saying is like, yeah, I'm basically Team Green at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Like, yeah, she's cool, and like, I honestly, I do like her, and if that is true, like that fact that it's trending, that is most of her hair. I think hands down, I think she's taken the award for the best hair on the show. Then, if that's the case, if she's just got slight extensions on it, I don't know because we don't really know about anybody else in that sense. Because we know most of them
I wish I was on the show.
I wish I was on the show. Don't we
I
all?
wish. for the beard.
I know.
The beard would work, wouldn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, we're gonna throw. Yeah,
That could be a Grand Maester.
You could.
Just put like a cloak on.
That's it.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways,
Sorry.
anyone listening, tell us about your hair theories. We want to know.
Yeah.
What we're here for is to
Yeah,
talk
we
about
love
hair.
to talk about hair over here, as you can
Yeah,
see.
we do. It's a big part of this show.
Yeah, we
It's
love
the hair.
We love it. It's what me as the female, co-host here has brought into the show is the discussion of the hair.
Well, it is trending. Like that is something that's been going around on the internet. I mean, and she's a lovely person. She seems like, as well as Christina. Go ahead, Christina.
Thank you.
Take it away.
So we're back with Damon, and he is sitting atop his dragon Caraxes, and he is intimidatingly telling the Bracken Lord and whoever else is Kingsman or whatever that he demands he must bend the knee to him. Everyone catch note of that, or face the wrath of his dragon. Lord Bracken and Willem Blackwood, who's with Damon, they exchange some words just about, you belong in the 7 layers of hell or something like that. I don't know. They're just going tit for tat back and forth like they've done for centuries. And Damon was like, whatever. I demand an answer. That's not an answer. Demand an answer. Well, Lord Bracken calls his bluff and says, I choose fire. Peace out.
Wow.
Turns around.
That was
that was a sick move. Turned his back to him. I was like, "Woo!" when he did that, and then you just see
Caraxes the head go down, and it's just like, oh, see, cinematography. It's like, even though it's not real, like it's like, oh my god, it's real. Like it's real.
Again, though, Jay, they chose not to show his death in this scene. Just the amp up of the mere thought of seeing somebody that's about to get toasted right there, like by the dragon, right? Because I know that was something you were noting before about things they do choose to show and then other things they don't show, right? So I think that.
I don't think so.
They don't kill them. They didn't kill him.
He didn't kill him.
Did he not actually flame him? Because I thought he did.
Oh.
Okay, because
immediately in the next scene. No, he didn't kill him because immediately in the next scene, he's like sitting there and he's kind of looking like, oh, like I just got played by my own game. Like he's confused. Like
see, that was lost on me. I thought that he took care of them after that scene because after the back turn, I was like, this guy ain't gonna take that.
No, so the next scene, so Willem says to him, like, oh, you should have.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Right then and there, but then Damon says, nah, like. I need swords over corpses. So he's not trying to, he doesn't want to kill them. Like he literally needs them. And if anything, this is now given him more fire in the belly to get them because they are so not afraid of anything. This Bracken household is not afraid to die. Like they're just not afraid.
They make quick work of them later this episode anyways, but it's like I thought that is what ended up happening. Okay, no, that went over my head then.
He hasn't killed him yet, so
okay.
Anyways, and then they're just him and Willem are back and forth talking, and he kind of implies to Willem that the Bracken, he gets really close to him, which is kind of uncomfortable, but he got really like close to his face and was like, they must be persuaded. And then Willem kind of takes a step back and was like, I understand, my lord. Like it's very strange. And, Damon was like, sometimes, the crown cannot act on its own. So they need like support. And he's like, understood. And then Willem like walks away, like to go do some type of deed. I don't know. But
it was like undercover work. It's like, we can't do it. Yeah, we can't do it. Yeah. So they send them like undercover and they just tell him no.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
So then now there's a new scene with another castle that we haven't seen yet before. It looks really great. It looks like they're in the clouds, so you can only assume we're in the Vale. We're at the Eyrie, and that's exactly where we are. So
I even put the Eyrie question mark.
Yeah, the Eyrie for all the Game of Thrones fans is where the Moon Door presides, where Robin Titsucker lived.
I was hoping somebody said it.
That's JT's favorite character.
I knew it. I knew. I'm just giving the ghost what he wants over there in this car. In the dark. Anyway, so you see the lady of the Vale, Lady Erin, or I think her name is not. I don't want to say Jane. It might be Jane Erin. I could be wrong though, but
Yeah, I think it's Jane. I think it is.
yeah. So Lady Erin is kind of giving Reyna um a little bit of the history of the Erie, saying it's impregnable from the ground. Moondor Tidsucker, lovely. Um, she's giving her a little history lesson of the Erie, basically saying it's impregnable from the ground, except from the sky. And Rhaenyra, I guess she's not happy with the terms that of Rhaena.
Yeah,
She's not happy. Rhaena reminds her that she pledged to promise 15,000 swords for Rhaenyra in exchange for dragons. But Lady Jane Aaron is like, yes, you gave me dragons, but they're no bigger. I have hounds that are bigger and more bloodthirsty than these dragons, because they're just hatchling. They're small, they're tiny. But Reyna very quickly responds back like, well, they'll grow and they are dragons. We didn't discuss the size
yeah,
of the dragons and the terms, so I think there's a little bit of like respect being given or like earned here, like between the two. Like Reyna's not backing down,
yeah.
Lady Erin is not trying to also back down. So there's a little bit of respect being shown here from my perspective anyways.
No, you're
Um
right.
so da, 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 la- anyways, Lady Erin at the end of it basically says she doesn't enjoy feeling powerless. So she just wants to make sure that this arrangement is gonna be fell protection. And Reyna agrees she doesn't enjoy being powerless either. Lady Erin gets up to leave, but before she does, she turns around and basically offers her condolences to Reyna at the loss of her grandmother, um, and then walks away. I don't know about you guys, but like the expression on Reyna's face to me suggests that like she hadn't heard this news yet. I don't know, like, because she kind of grabbed the couch. I don't know if she knew yet. I don't know, but it just seemed she was a little emotional about hearing that. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Mm. I didn't catch that if that's what was going on. I didn't. I don't know about Jay, but I personally don't think so. But maybe I just didn't catch it if
Well,
that's what's going on.
do you think that that which one that Thing's daughter, granddaughter said that she had that look on her face?
Yeah, it was just like a slight something. So like I don't know. I might be just looking into it too much because I was doing the notes, so I was really trying to get like
Well,
Well, I
well,
remember.
that's the thing. I didn't do any notes this time around, and I've only watched this episode once, which I normally watch it a couple of times just because I've been traveling. So yeah, no, it could be on me, right? So I'm trying to do my best
oh
here,
no, it's
but no,
fine.
but no, I know, but JT, but I don't know. What were you gonna say, Jay?
I know the other lady. I know the other lady said that she doesn't want to feel powerless and stuff like that, right? I understood that part, but I didn't. I don't know if I caught that in the background. It was more like I don't know. I thought she kind of felt as she was walking away. She felt like she had something built in her. Like I mean, I don't know. It's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it wrong too. The feeling because I'm having a hard time still between the I confuse her and her sister sometimes,
Their
and it
names are
throws me
very
off, right?
similar. Yeah, their
Yeah,
names are
and they look very
Reina.
similar too.
Yeah, Reina and Bela. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyways, yeah. So that's just but it was nice to see like now we have a new character that's been introduced, a new
Yeah,
location that's been introduced. So that was kind of nice to see.
agreed. Yeah, that's my favorite part about this is that they're slowly starting to show like different houses or different characters we may not get a lot of, but it's nice to see them expanding the world.
It's
And
very Game of Thrones esque, like you said earlier.
yeah,
This episode was very Game of Thrones esque.
yes, yeah,
just like the intro, it keeps expanding. If you don't notice it, you can
I
keep
did
your eye
watch the
on
intro
it.
this time. I didn't notice that it got different. I don't think it changed this episode.
I'm pretty sure it expands. Or it's going to at least expand again to the next one because they are expanding the whole. It's
Yeah.
basically threading the map of Westeros if you see from the other Game of Thrones, right? So that they kind of have. So it's exciting to me to watch. It's like probably watching how that thing behind you was made. of the world.
The tapestry. Yeah.
It's like slowly by slowly, you know what I mean? How it was
This is
created.
my
You know,
map, Westeros. I own it all.
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like it does. Little things like that kind of intrigue me. So that just caught my attention. Yes. Sorry.
That's
Because I'm
okay.
thinking you're gonna see the Erie in the next one. You're gonna see the river runs and all that stuff. How you seen that when that was introduced with the towers, right? So it if you watch the people that are there too on this, it kind of gives you an interest. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. You tell me what your perspective is of the next time, but I've been liking to watch the intro of this one, to be honest with you, more than the first season.
It's a nicer intro with the tapestry.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I
Okay.
went off track there.
That's okay. So after that intro with Lady Jane Eyre, we're back to Dragonstone with Rhaenyra. She's speaking to Mysaria, the White Worm, about the difficulties she's encountering with her small council and how they don't listen to her. But Mysaria offers her support and basically just tries to keep her spirits up and reminds her that Viserys chose her as his successor. But Rhaenyra agrees that, she's just as perplexed about what to do as her counsel is. And, if she had been born a boy, she would have had a sword thrust in her hands as soon as she could walk. But instead, she was taught the histories and names of all the lords and castles. Mysaria asks Raymond, mixed Rhaenyra and Raymond together.
Everybody loves him.
Boom. Nice one, Leaks.
Raymond. Okay. Mysaria asks Rhaenyra if she's going to reach out to Daemon. But Rhaenyra says that, for too long she's looked to him for strength. And as the queen, what does that look like for her if she's always to depend on her husband? So Mysaria suggests.
Watch it. There we go. We got some opinions here. No comment.
No comment. Mysaria suggests that Kristen Cole has made a huge mistake by parading the dragon head through the streets like a prize of war, but the people see a bad omen. So she goes on to say also that the common folk are afraid. The bread is scarce, the king has fallen, and things were peaceful when Viserys lived. You're not wrong. You're Nocciolini. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra quips that whispers won't break shields and stone, but Mysaria reminds her not to underestimate her subjects, as they are thousands and thousands that for too long have been forgotten and lived in the shadows of the Red Keep, and basically that the discontented with rumors are like feed for them, so they'll spread whatever you say. She reminds Rhaenyra that for things that she cannot do herself, let others do for her. And with this information, Rhaenyra sends a servant out into the night.
You know my take on all this. I still don't trust Mysaria. I don't know why. I just don't trust her. I don't know. Like, I know I just don't trust her. I don't.
Like I said last episode, I do trust her. And this episode kind of solidified that to me. That really...
No, get out of here. No, she doesn't.
No, Nocciolini. Come on, her hair. What are we going to do?
No. I don't know.
I disagree. I don't want her to go anywhere. She's great. She's already pretty much been like... as of this episode, been like, she's not part of it. Like, she's essentially useless at this moment in time. So, she
regrets. I think she's
sure. But yeah, Mysaria, like, as you were saying, I just don't trust her. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We have a couple more episodes.
No, you can't trust anybody in this game. I mean, this show.
But it's something about her I particularly don't trust. I just don't know why. I can't tell you why, but there's something I just feel like. I just think that she showed, like, I know she didn't like show up purposely, like she was brought there, but she's in such a very convenient spot when they're like they're not doing well right now on their side. Let's be honest. Like they're kind of losing at this point until like possibly the turn of the tide at the end of this episode, like with the reveal that's made. But like right now, they're not doing so hot. For her to be up in the mix and like her not even to give her any other like she's not dedicating any time to her really at this point, the way that she showed up and inserted herself into this situation. She did try to go, she was given the opportunity to. You're right, they're trying to give us they're not trying to give us a reason to not trust her, and I think that's also why there's no reason why we shouldn't trust her, but that's exactly why we shouldn't trust her. I'm telling you,
sometimes she's the best one to have on your side. Somebody like that, if they're listening and they're watching too, is the best. Sometimes is the best. They don't need to know if they're around. You don't need to know they're around.
We'll see. That's one of my theories right there, that she's gonna do something. We'll see.
I'm gonna just
go on.
Okay, I just changed my name because I'm still laughing about it. The next scene is we see Bela and Reina sitting together. It's kind of awkward. We need more. He's a Helena stan.
Yeah, I disagree. That's a hot take. She's cool. I mean, it's fine. Anyways,
so they're sitting together. It's a little awkward. It seems very like forced, but just awkward. They're talking about Rhaenys and how much of a fierce warrior, dragon rider she was. They talked about how she claimed Meraxes, or Meleys. What is Meraxes? Where am I going, Christina? Oh my God, my head is not here today.
It's okay.
She claimed, how she claimed Meleys and all of that. Anyways, just talking her up. Then Rhaenyra hands her a tin box and basically says, "I need your help. Can you bring this to your grandsire, aka Corlys Velaryon? And she must rely on her now, I think." Like, rude. She's like, "I must rely on you now, I think."
Right.
Just say yes or like what? That's so weird. Like, it's your stepdaughter slash niece, cousin. I don't know what she is, but it's strange.
They're all twisted up here. It's really disgusting.
Yeah.
So we can't even know. Just say anyways, the one that is doing that one.
Asks her to bring the box to Corlys. So now we're gonna get into back to Harrenhal. We're
well, hold on. Okay, sorry. So she hasn't met with Corlys as of yet. That wasn't her meeting with Corlys. She gave her the bot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I have a lot to say about that scene in particular. So that's why I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Nacho leaning here. Otto and Aemond are my favorite, and Daemon. Yeah, Otto's sick. Daemon's sick. Aemon's a good character, but I don't know where I'm at with him right now with everything going on. But
we have a Team Green in the chat.
Yeah, it is a Team Green for sure. Well, no, Daemon's not. Yeah, he's Daemon's not.
He's a team on his own. Okay, he might as well be a Team Green.
He's an independent party over there. Okay,
pretty much. Party. He's Team Harrenhal. Yeah,
that's what JT would be.
So speaking of Daemon, we're back with him. He's laying there in Harrenhal hallucinating. Whatever he's on, I want. But anyways, he ends up like there's this woman who shows up and she's blonde. She's obviously Targaryen. To me, I thought initially she looked like Emma, like Viserys's for Rhaenyra's mom, like in the first whatever. She looked like her, and for a second I was like, is that Emma? I'm like, no, that can't, because I'm like, oh, maybe he's having fantasies of his like brother's wife or something.
No,
she's talking and she's like, you're the best. Like, you should have been born first. Blah blah blah. And then it's like we find out that that's his mother.
Yeah.
I mean, just when you and like eating out his mother, like,
I mean,
Oedipus
mommy issues, you think?
Mommy issues for real.
I mean, just when you think this show couldn't get more wrong in the relationships, you get this. I mean, right? So
I died. I saw something on
No, we like him. We like that character a lot. It's just like at the same time he's trouble right now. I just say I like the character, but whether or not I think he's
He is badass. He's totally
yeah, he is
badass.
badass. He is badass. Absolutely.
He probably fits. He
Um,
probably is the one that fits the character well, like in that sense, like the way that he's all portrays himself, right? Just the way he portrays himself as that character. Yeah, I think he's badass that way. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, you just don't know what his intentions are because he thinks along the lines of Damon. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know, but I saw on the internet on Instagram that it was like, oh, it's interesting how Damon has more passionate lovemaking with his mother than he did with his wives or his mistresses, and I was like, that's disgusting, gross, disgusting.
It was hard to see, man. It was hard to know once you. But you know what they
Yeah,
did? They really did. They led you into it slowly. That's the sick part, man. They
Yeah.
made you for a second not believe, and then all of a sudden he says, "Tell me you miss your mommy" or some shit like that. Fucking
For a second, even I thought maybe he was hooking up with somebody in Harrenhal somehow, but then I'm like, nah, he's tripping. And then, like, you know what? But even for a second, you're right. I wanted to think that this was actually him with another woman or something. Maybe we got brought into something. And I mean, he was with another woman, but I didn't know it was going to be his mother. Weird, yeah,
mama,
yeah.
weird. Anyway, so Sir Simon snaps him back to reality and asks him if he prefers the duck or the goose, and then he's like, thrown into
But
like
he went right
mealtime.
from eating her out right into the fucking part where the blood. It looks like blood is dropping on his plate. Okay, that was
Yeah.
the disgusting part. That's where it got me. Again, it was like, oh shit,
I don't know
you know?
the backstory of their mom. Like, did she die in childbirth with him? Because he's never
I don't
known
know.
that. So I
I don't
wonder if
know.
like that's the thing. 'Cause she was bleeding. Her neck was bleeding. I don't know. There's something there. We'll
Yeah,
have to figure that'll be uncovered. I'm sure I'll do a deep dive
debunked
into
in
the
Harrenhal.
yeah. So they're sitting. He's sitting at the hall with Sir Simon, and I don't know who those other three guys are, but they're hilarious. They're like kind of
Yeah.
like snap, crackle, and pop. Like they're just like background whatever characters there.
He was
Yeah.
he was three he was 3 years old. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. We seen you last time here. I don't know if it's Guy or Guy, but Guy H. She was 3. He was 3 when she died.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
is that what you're referring to?
I think
Do you
so.
know?
Probably. It's
Do
right
you
from the
know?
book.
Do you know? I don't care about this spoiler. Do you know how she died? Hey, yeah, what's going on? Do you know how she died? His mother? Because we don't know. Try to be, about other spoilers about things. If you know the book stuff, let's be careful with that. But we're asking you directly. Do you know how the mother died? His mother that he seen hooking up with in this scene. But yeah, go ahead, Christina.
Well, yeah, we'll just keep
Oh,
going.
it is childbirth. It is childbirth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Ooh, so
So that
who?
makes sense for the going right from the eating out to the bleeding. Sorry, guys. Keep it moving.
Okay. Yeah, so they're just talking over dinner and whatever. They're just, Damon asks how things are going with Harrenhal. He says we need to ready the castle because he wants to make it ready for when the Blackwoods bring the Brackens and all of these. He's just making all these plans, and he asks like what's happening with Harrenhal and the renos and the repairs. And Sir Simon's like, oh well, we got the water flowing in the kitchen and whatever, but now we have to worry about the roof and the wedding tower and the bat shit and all of that. Like,
That
it's
shit was
just,
the best. The way he said
yeah,
that scene, yeah, it was just funny.
yeah,
The
they're just
halls,
talking
the
about
halls are
whatever,
full
and
of.
he says their shit, yeah. And then Sir Simon brings up the matter of payment because I guess Laris Strong emptied
Mm,
their coffers of gold, and so there's nothing left, or just enough to keep it like afloat as is, but there's not enough to do much. And they were hoping that the prince or the Queen Rhaenyra, would offer gold or payment to fix it. But Damon's like, well, I can warrant that. You don't need to like ask her permission. Like, I'm just as good as anything. And he assures that they will be paid. He gets up from the table to walk away, and Sir Simon calls him Your Grace or something. And he says, Damon turns around and really angrily is like, no, like, my king, like, address me as such. And he's like, oh, well, I apologize. Like, you're whatever. Anyways, they have this back and forth. At the end of it, Damon is just very, you can tell he's like turning with his words. He's becoming more bold in that he's expressing his intentions, what he wants to do. He wants to be called king. Let's drop the consort. Who cares? I will be king kind of thing. Yeah.
I did like what he said here because it's true. I mean, this is one of those rare occurrences where, the man was just like, well, listen, you call the woman the queen if she's queen to the king, then why am I not a king, right? Like, I kind of did agree what he had to say and retort there about how it's like, you know what I mean? It's one of those rare times where I felt like, I'm like, yeah, he's right. You know what I mean? I was like, why wouldn't we call him king?
You know what? I don't think that's true, because if you think now, like, I'm just going to bring it to today's standard, like King Charles, for example, he's King Charles. His wife, Camilla, is the queen consort. She's not the queen.
But this is why he said the king consort. But I also
from a royalty family. She's not. So that's why if she was from another royal family, yeah, she would still be a queen.
When Queen Elizabeth was alive and Prince Philip was alive, like he was not King Philip. He was Prince Philip, or he was king consort.
Christina, equality, all right? We need
equal rights, man. You guys want to play that game? Let's play it. Tell them, Meeks.
I never said that.
No, you're right, and that's why it's mentioned about the king consort stuff. I get it, but at the same time, like, I do get where he was coming from for a moment. He's like, I get where he was coming from in the sense, like, he's like, I'm important too.
Yeah, don't forget about me, man. Like, seriously, I got a dragon too.
No, all right.
I have like 17 pages to get through. Okay.
17 pages more.
No, we're getting through.
There you go.
Yes, we do need Aegon the Conqueror, not this Aegon. What do they call him?
Maybe he'll wake up and become the Conqueror. I don't know.
So the next scene, we're back at the Red Keep. The benevolent. Fuck, never mind. It doesn't matter. The Red Keep. We're at the Green Council now. The Grand Maester is discussing the extent of Aegon's injuries. He's just describing like what, he's got many injuries on the outside, far more on the inside. He's unsure if he will. Alicent asks if he's awake, and he says no, he's not, and he's unsure if he ever will awaken. So at that moment, Alicent suggests that they need a new ruler in his absence, a regent, until he recovers. And she petitions herself as someone who has done it before and is able to do it again. She did it when Viserys was in power and he was sick, and but she's quickly denied because she is a woman, but also she doesn't understand battle. Times are different. This is no longer a time of peace. This is wartime. And they need basically a fierce like dragon rider or someone who understands battle. So Aemond is suggested. I can't remember if it was Jason Lannister or someone else, the other guy. I don't know who his name is, but somebody suggested Aemon, or was it Larys? Somebody suggested Aemon, but Alicent opposes, saying he's young and he's not experienced.
It was
Larys. And anything. So she looks to Larys to kind of back her up, and he's like, no, sorry, I agree. It should be Aemon. And then she looks, and then he suggests, well, what about the hand of the king? He
throws it over
for the king. So like, Sir Kristen, like, what do you say?
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
So then, it goes over to Kristen Cole, like, as hand of the king. What does he say? Who should be regent? And Alicent looks at him and is hoping for his support. And he's just like, Aemond. Might lack experience, but he is fierce and we need him. It's like, whoa, okay.
He couldn't even look at her. He couldn't even look at her.
No, he's a wing.
This is where, I guess she was expecting some support because they've slept together, and that was not happening here. This was like very much like it's a man's world type of thing. Not only because they slept together, but you're right. They all were like the man should be in charge in the scene. It's true. And then they also like obviously they've been intimate, so there's something there. You would hope that he would support her, but didn't. Him and Amon had been boys. Like they've been talking behind the scenes this whole time about stuff, right? So we knew that's where it was gonna go. But the one reason I was really upset about this is because she is totally right about how she did do a lot when Viserys was laid up. Like, but they were also right by saying it was a time of peace that they were experiencing at that time. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't know. And here's my question I was going to pose to you, Christina, before you finish out this scene. Do you guys think if she did have the choice here, that she would have squashed this because she would finally have had a chance here after realizing that she was in the wrong with what she had predicted and not wanting Aemon to basically rule because I think she knows how bloodthirsty he is, and what kind of a problem he could pose. Do you think she would have squashed things with Rhaenyra if she was put in that position?
No, I think she might have tried to like coyly, or like under the sly, like try to do it. I think she might have, like, this would have been her opportunity, but
I truly think so.
I don't think it would have mattered. I think Aemon would have been out for blood anyways. Like he is technically like next, like it's kind of the same thing with Aegon. Like if Rhaenyra goes up, like he's not going to back down now. Like he's so close. Like he's there. He's on the throne. Like I don't. She could have had good intentions. Now, I don't know how this plays out. I don't know how it goes on, but like she could have, but I don't think anybody.
Right.
That's true. Exactly.
As the scene after when they handed over, right? I mean, you could see that she might have wanted to squash it, Nico. The way she was breathing heavy and the way she was
I agree.
looking around, and she feels. I think she was surrounded by the male figures and stuff like that. And she really didn't have much of a fucking say. And you could tell she was angry.
Yes. But not only that, we talked about it last episode or whatever when she had the outcome of her admitting that this has gotten away from her. This whole situation is gotten out of and she said it too when she was talking to Larys about like it doesn't matter now. Things are gonna play out their way they're gonna play out. Like this whole situation has gotten out of control, and she has no like her father's been kicked out, her lover disagrees with her, and now is the hand to the king to her bloodthirsty son. This is a bad situation for her. Like, and then no one's listening to her, and she said she possibly has the most experience ruling, let's say, out of anybody at that table, yet she's being ignored.
Yeah.
I actually felt a little bad about the situation for her at the end of the day. Like she got herself into this situation, but I was kind of like, you know what, that kind of sucks.
The other thing that was mentioned that, like to go along this, like whatever, like Larys brings up a good point. Like they can't have Alicent on like they can't have her there because they literally their whole biggest fight was like as Rhaenyra as a woman can't sit the Iron Throne. She can't succeed. So if they have a woman sitting the Iron Throne, even temporarily, that just literally contradicts their whole fight. So like even if they wanted Alicent there, they couldn't have Alicent there. It goes against what they're also fighting for. So it doesn't it's
yeah, you make a good point. Yeah. We got a comment in the chat here too about it. Actually,
still has. So Alicent still has a peacetime approach to politics. Yep, she could probably handle Regency in peacetime, but her refusal of Rhaenyra's peace offer seems to me like Alicent couldn't grasp. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she would have. Aegon or Aemon were dangerous and unfit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, too. Yeah, I mean, it's all good points. This is what makes it a good scene and interesting what occurred here in this episode, right? Yeah.
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 So, anyways, I mean, what's done is done. Aemon picks up his little marble ball and throws it in his little king chair spot, and they go right to talking strategy.
His depth perception wasn't off there. He got it right there. Boom. Look at that. Perfect shot. He just sat down and started
with his one
talking.
eye.
Yeah, sit down there and talking. That's it.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know if you guys paid attention or whatnot, but in the muffling, they are talking about like really pertinent, like important things. And so I picked up on like one of those things, whereas like I guess Corlys, as the Valerian fleet, has blocked off all shipping lanes to King's Landing. So that's why the people are starving and they're low on supplies and they're low on food and they're
Yes.
low on everything. So there's people that are leaving, and the people that are leaving are spreading bad word about how King Aegon is like ruling the Red Keep and how things are in such disarray and all of that. So Aemond orders that the gates be closed and to keep people from leaving and from people from entering, whatever. Basically, just having more control as to things that are coming in and not going out, but coming out.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing about our theory, or I guess you had heard a bit about it too, about the people,
The
the common
uprising.
folk getting worse and worse. Is we're seeing it happen in front of our eyes, right now. Well, a lot of action, a lot of comments in the chat. Happy to see it, guys. Amon can rule. Then we got he can rule, but he'll definitely have a more destructive game. I agree. Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
than Laris.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That's all that
Jay,
matters. Let's be
yeah.
honest.
Jay, I'm shocked you didn't ask that question. What about the bros? Like, what's happening? You know, if there's one thing, like, aside from death and taxes in this
Straight
world,
up,
is
where
like
are
people are
they?
gonna find sex wherever they want. Like, that's like another
No,
guarantee in life.
I'm mad at this episode for. I'm mad at the series right now for that. I mean, we've seen more action in the Game of Thrones in the first fucking 2 episodes than we've seen in this whole uh, House of the Dragons period. Like,
Be
really,
careful. It might
naked
come.
women.
You know.
Where are they?
Oh my God, we're gonna move right along, folks. um
I just put it back out. Okay, go ahead.
So the
Remember,
next
everyone, to like and subscribe if you have yet to do so. Please like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, we want to see
man,
you back
it's
next
just
week.
fun to have everybody.
Yeah, we'll be back weekly, usually on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead.
Middle finger is
The
a
next
point.
scene, we're back to the blacksmith, and he's at home.
Sorry, go ahead. I know you're trying to read off the notes. Go ahead.
We're back at the blacksmith in his house with his wife and his sick daughter, and his wife is obviously distraught, like, and basically is begging her husband, like, we need to leave, we need to go somewhere, we'll go to my brother's home in some little town, like, we need to get out of here. And he's too proud to really want to accept the help, but I guess understands that the situation is dire and he doesn't want to lose his wife and his daughter. So we're slowly getting into, like, we've seen the blacksmith a couple times. We're seeing him again. I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't remember him being this bleach blonde. So obviously he has Targaryen blood. So like, I'm predicting that he's gonna be called up to be a dragon rider. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Remember, we were at the end of the episode what they talked right about. So let's just keep that in mind about the blacksmith.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna be a really important person in the coming episodes. So I don't know. Let's just
Small folk
I
are
didn't
starting
realize
to
his hair was
rebel.
that blonde. I didn't realize that to begin with, but that's cool. He's gonna betray both teams. Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, so in that last council, sorry, I forgot, Aemond ordered all the rat catchers to be cut down. So after the scene with the blacksmith, we do see the rat catchers being cut down. Gross. They're like literally like molten corpses. Like, they're just basically bones now. And Allison is walking toward Kristen Cole, because he's there overseeing the rat catchers coming down. And basically they have like, what are we, like, how could you do this to me type of a conversation. He is steadfast in his support of Aemon, like, despite Allison plainly speaking what Aemon has become. Like, we know what he's become. Like, why would you support this? This is going to be terrible. She also calls him out on his loyalty. to her, asking if it only flourishes in the night and flees in sunlight like a moth. Anyway, so he then starts to, his response to that is to start describing what went on in Rook's Rest and talking about the ashen bodies and people running around on fire and a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which could be very interesting, like for the storyline. Anyway, so he also makes a mention. He's like, we've given the war to the dragons, and we need a dragon rider to lead us. And then she basically was like, don't put my name in your mouth ever again.
Like basically, don't call me Allison anymore.
Don't call me. You know, yeah.
Don't call
Forget
you.
I exist.
Yeah.
She'll be calling you in a couple of days. Don't worry.
There you go. There you go. That makes four of us.
Until he starts getting late again.
The blacksmith is seen again, and he's trying to leave with another group of common folk. Like he's trying to leave the King's Landing, but they're banned from doing so. And fighting ensues, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion from the common folk, like who is the king? Because the King's Guard says by order of Prince Aemon, King Regent or something, and they're like, wait, is he talking about the king? Like they seem a little confused as to who's ruling now, but also really pissed that they're not allowed to leave. His daughter also looks like a ghost. She's gray and really sick and whatnot. But
yeah, she's rough, and I feel bad for this guy. And this is just one of those like prime examples of somebody. Well, yeah, but just somebody that trusts. I guess we can call it the government in this case. Like it gets screwed over by the government.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot to mention that he's still like steadfast at like, oh yeah, the king's gonna give me my money. He's gonna pay us.
That's right.
Like you're an idiot. Like
the worst part about that is the last person to say that to him is now burnt to a crisp. It's like lying in a bed. So, it's true. Think about it. You don't know if Aemon is going to agree to give him anything. And even when Aegon did, he was advised against it. He auto shot him a look because at that point he was giving out everybody whatever they wanted, right? He was like, no, this is important in our war efforts, which absolutely it was. But I think he's going to be overlooked now. He's going to fall in between the cracks like so many people do, right? Like
it's a rebellion. That's when people start to rebel.
That's right.
Yep. So there's a lot of unrest in King's Landing, like there always is.
Yeah. He's had good moments, but yeah, I love to hate him too. He's this version, you know what I mean? Like he's a character that people love to hate, I think, out of everybody on this show.
Yeah. He's such an easy target. So now we are in a different location, new location to this world, but not a new location to us as viewers of Game and fans of Game of Thrones. We are at the Twins with the Freys, but these Freys are not Walder Frey, so they're a little bit more civilized. I don't know. JT seems to think they're siblings. I thought they were husband and wife, like Lord and Lady. I don't know, but
I thought they were both. Whatever. That could be confusing.
Jacaerys is there, and he's meeting with them. They're having lunch on the bridge, which seems really inconvenient for everybody, but
that's so nice.
They're there. They're having a nice lunch on the bridge. They're basically just discussing like strategy and what's happening in and about the war. And Jace basically brings up that I guess Jason Lannister is going to be needing passage through the Riverlands at the Twins. But blocking them from coming through until the Starks arrive for Rhaenyra's cause and all of that would be most appreciated. And if you can prevent them from coming through, I think that was the gist of the conversation. Again, there was so much talking and so many things that I'm like, I hope I'm getting this right. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I think that's basically what was being said. Then Lady Frey says that, you know, they do, like, it's not like they don't support Rhaenyra, but they're just more afraid of Vhagar. And, you know, Jace basically says you're more afraid of a dragon that's like miles away versus the one that's literally at your doorstep, aka his, who's just
Right.
top the mountain right there. Like, what are you afraid of? Like,
Right.
you know, so then she's like, oh, like, well, then can you protect us? Are you offering us protection? And he says yes. And then he also says, but I also want the protection of my uncle, Daemon, at Harrenhal. And then so she quips back, and they basically go into a negotiation. Like, if we provide you with protection and dragon, like if Jace and Rhaenyra provide them with protection and dragons, will you give us Harrenhal? And Jace was like, okay, we'll give you Harrenhal and the protection if you bend the knee.
So a couple of things about this scene. Like, as much as we haven't really liked this kid, I thought that he did a good negotiation in this moment with them, right? But he's speaking for Daemon, who currently is on the outs, and as of this episode, does not look like he's going to be in their favor whatsoever at this point in time. And currently, he has control of Harrenhal. So this could technically all blow up in his face, this move. But the joke's on them if they were to take over Harrenhal, because Harrenhal, as we know, is like in disarray. Like, that is a place that needs work done on it. So everyone thinks in their mind that Harrenhal is this, you know, because it's like the biggest property or whatever, is this beautiful place or whatever. So much so that these people want Harrenhal. But I guess it's also because of positioning. It's important. Like, yeah, right. So I just think that they bought like a bad car here. You know what I mean? They're like, it's one of those things where they don't know what they're buying here.
Yeah.
They all want it.
Yeah. Here are some comments here. Husband and wife, he thinks they're not related. Yeah, I think that's the case, Jay. I think you're wrong on that one. I think you're wrong on that one. I don't think they're related. Some comment about the houses here. He likes that they have different attitudes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, they speak for themselves despite everything going on sometimes. I wonder when the Freys start to have a bad reputation. Yeah, that's a good question, because they're clearly not these people in Game of Thrones, as we said earlier. That episode 5 should have been more about Aemon. Man, you love Aemon. Harrenhal is geographically important, yeah, but feels like a massive skippable side quest for Daemon. Yes, thank you. There you go. Damn you, Alice. There you go. Some great comments, guys. Keep them coming.
Yeah, I'm just looking at like a map right now, and it's like Harrenhal is like right in the middle, like, of Westeros, and the Twins is another like big one that's kind of there as well. So yeah, it is positionally like important. So I don't know. We'll see. There's so much, but like everything, Game of Thrones, like everything, everyone has good intentions and whatever, and it all goes to shit because somebody drops a ball somewhere or something. But it is interesting because I think in Game of Thrones, I think Walder Frey did own or did have control of Harrenhal because he was the one who made the deal with Roose Bolton that ultimately ended, like, was like the Red Wedding. You know what I mean? So I think he does. And Roose Bolton was the one who was seeing over the command at Harrenhal when they were interrogating everybody. And again, I'm going back to this with the rats in the bucket, like on the belly kind of thing, because I think Roose was over, like Roose Bolton was in charge of that. So I think you're
right, because wasn't there some talk about him getting Harrenhal, like, with his wedding, like the fact that he wedded one of his daughters or something like that? Is that what had occurred? Because I remember there was a lot of.
I think Roose Bolton was saying he had. I don't honestly. There was something. I mean, again, I've watched the show like a million times, so I think it's like all coming together. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. If it was this time or a time coming up, I don't know. But
okay,
I don't know. It's interesting.
It's gonna feel like stuff we've talked about, yeah, in that sense, like.
Yeah. So I guess just moving along, we the next scene, we're back to Harrenhal with Daemon. He's chopping wood. He's part of the renovations, He keeps hearing screaming, like ghost screams and stuff like that. Then he goes into like a hall and he's just collecting more wood. And Alice, the witch of Harrenhal, she approaches him and, basically goads him about wielding an axe over a sword. She tells him she hears news from Bracken territory in the wind. Basically, like just things of war, like screams of children being taken from their mothers, like all of these like horrific things. And as she's doing this, she's like tending his hand. I guess he has cuts or something on his hand. His hand's in rough shape.
Blisters.
So Damon basically just says like, oh well, this is just a casualty of war, this is just what happens, like I don't care. And she's like, well, is this the type of army you want to raise? These men hate you. And he's like, oh, when they're my men, I'll treat them better and they'll grow to love me, and it is what it is.
But she said a good line too about crimes against humanity and against innocence, right? Because of everybody that's dying, I can end up dying from all that shit.
Yeah. So I guess there was an exchange of some sort. Again, just talking about this war effort, and again, just repeating the same thing. And then she goes to walk away, but then Damon states that if Aemond One Eye rules, the realm will suffer, and she should wish to never meet him, as he would strike her down before wishing her a good day. Then Alice asks if his tactics are approved by the Queen, and he admits that Rhaenyra should not succeed. The people who support her will not respect her, as they look to a man for strength, and who better than Daemon, Viserys's first true-born heir, or first heir, sorry, not true-born, because it's not Viserys' son, but his first true heir, or the Hightowers and their scheming. So right then and there in this scene, he basically just outs himself and lets us know where he stands. Like, he's going after, because when he takes King's Landing, Rhaenyra is more than welcome to join him at his side, ruling as king and queen together. Then Alice asks, well, what if you die? And he's like, what do I care? Like, I'll be dead and don't have to worry about this BS. Like, who cares? And then as he's walking away, she brings up like, oh, it's a shame you didn't know your mother. You've never known your mother.
Yeah, she threw that in there. Yeah, I noticed that too. It's like, yeah. It's like she's knowing what's going on in his head when he's thinking it.
So I'm just going to finish this last, and then we can talk about the scene. Sir Simon interrupts with a message that the Blackwoods have officially overtaken the Brackens, and that Lord Bracken has submitted to Daemon, and his army is now his. So Daemon is obviously very happy about this, and end scene.
I will say it's been interesting to see finally in this episode some progression with Daemon tripping out and being manipulated by Alice, obviously putting these visions, I feel like, actually in his head, because like the progression of him over this episode and the events of what happened to him and his war efforts grew stronger finally after like him having no success were interesting, because now it seems like he has a whole other perspective in mind, or like a game plan in mind where he feels he should be ruler over Rhaenyra. Now, whether or not he's going to snap out of this, or if someone comes to retrieve him and be like, as we know, she asked for him back in this episode, like, hey, come back now. That's enough of you over there. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it was interesting, finally, like you mentioned at the top of the episode, Christina, as much as we haven't liked this story of him in Harrenhal, this was the best episode, I think, of him in Harrenhal, like just seeing what he went through in this one. So yeah, that's my comment on this. It was done really well.
He's trying to figure himself out too, right?
Yeah. Lazy Eye says, I feel like Daemon is doing man therapy by chopping wood and pretending to be king. I like you. Yes. But at least he hasn't totally lost his grip. Forgiving the lives of the Brackens and leaving the dirt work to the Blackwoods was a good move with plausible deniability.
Yeah.
It
was.
Yes.
I hope he comes out of this situation okay, but I don't know. Like, is he going to come out of this situation an enemy of Rhaenyra's now or not. I guess we'll see. But I just think he needs to clear his head and get out of there. You know what I mean? Like, this is
He's
clearly
on
all
an
results.
extended, he's like on an extended like LSD trip. He needs to like get some fresh air or something. He needs like
And,
It's the
and I
mold,
didn't.
man.
And I didn't realize, guys, this Alice situation, getting it, like, if she is, like, directly responsible, getting it in his head, making him think that he should be king, this is exactly like a Stannis Baratheon situation with what's her name? Like, getting in his head. Yeah, Melisandre. It's the same shit. They back somebody, it seems like, and be like, I will make your dreams come true. Like, people they think are winners, possibly, or losers for that matter. I don't know, but they kind of. But it's exactly like a Stannis Baratheon kind of situation.
Oh yeah, I
So
didn't put that together, but you're very correct. Like you're very right.
yeah.
Interesting. So Nico, now we're at the Corlys Bela.
Okay.
So we've now transported ourselves back to Driftmark. Lord Corlys Valerion is standing on a dock. Bela walks up to him. He's obviously still very upset, very somber at losing his wife.
Very emotional guy.
Bela was like, I thought I'd see you at High Tide, which is the castle there. And he's like, no, he basically called it a tomb. And, but she tries to keep it light and positive, basically talking about like, oh, it must have been such a great place to be in its heyday, with all the parties and festivities and things and whatnot. And then she presents Corlys with the tin box, and in the tin box is the hand pin. So basically, Rhaenyra was asking him, or it's revealed that Rhaenyra is asking him to be her hand, and he's a little taken aback. He scoffs. He's obviously angry at the audacity of the request, quipping like, "Oh, has she not taken enough from me and my family?" But Bela comes to Rhaenyra's aid and is, essentially like, this is a great honor. You should accept this. It's a true honor. And if not, maybe you should just go to King's Landing and succeed to them, or, join them in their cause. I'm sure they'd be happy to have you. Bela continues to talk about Rhaenys and how Rhaenys wants Rhaenyra to ascend the throne. She just talks about how Rhaenys was like such a dragon rider, like a fierce warrior. She was, a Targaryen princess, the queen that never was. And, she met her end. She chose to fight for Rhaenyra. She died fighting for Rhaenyra. That's how she wanted to go. She's a dragon, right? She wanted to go out by fire, like Lena did, which is Bela's mom. And like Bela now says she wants to do, like, that's her intention. She's Targaryen. Like she's,
Blood and fire, she said it.
Yeah, so Corlys, anyway, so as this conversation kind of is, Bela walks away. Corlys stops her, though, from walking away and proclaiming that he wants to name her his heir. And she responds that, she is made of fire, blood and fire, and Driftmark must pass to salt and sea.
I just love this scene. I think it's like possibly the best scene of the episode. I just loved what a great rousing speech on her part. Like, good for her, like saying all this shit to him. I think he really is losing sight of himself, especially after Rhaenys died in the last episode. And I just feel like he doesn't know what to do next. He's not wrong in being doubtful if he should lend his aid anymore to their efforts, because he has been overlooked and kind of screwed over, I feel like, by this family already a few times, between the two seasons. But and he's getting older. He's not he almost died on the seas already. I just think this is the right move for him, quite frankly, and she needs the help. she needs somebody people respect as her hand. Like I like how she gave this speech to him and being like, you know what I mean, like smarten up, like get, you know what I mean,
There's
like I
bigger things
like,
Well,
happening than your feelings here, you know?
yeah, I loved it.
she
That
does
was
need somebody forceful like that on her side that can stand up to the rest of the guys that are in there,
that's right.
right?
Yeah, I think that's
So
another thing. I never even thought about that, but that's a good point. Absolutely. I
because
wonder
like she
who
said, they're
would be
tippy
the one
toeing
to bring
around her, you
Damon
know.
back. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Like, who is the one that's going to be able to bring Damon back? And so Lazy Eye says their money is on Bela. His dream of Lane, yeah.
Bela. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I skipped the. Yeah,
His
Lena
dream of
asking
Lane
if he's
Ashley.
caring for his daughters could be it. Yeah, that's a good theory. I like that. I like that. I like this whole Bela angle right now. Like, yeah, she's actually rising up in terms of like a great character where she wasn't used as much. I feel like previous to this, but yeah, she's great. Bela the base, exactly. She's great. Great character. Corliss is giving Viserys vibes. Oh,
Like
on his
Viserys hyper focused on his King's Landing model. Corlys cares more about his dynasty than the war at hand. Excellent viewpoints. I'm loving these comments.
No, seriously, it's he's
I'm
more worried
loving
about what's
this.
gonna happen, what to his area, what happens when he's gone. Like he's more worried about that than everything that's going on, right?
Which I think a
Yeah.
lot of
So
like people do. I think even nowadays, like a lot of people get hung up on like the succession of their line, like will their name die with them, like kind of thing. I think people still get hung up on that. But
well, I hope
I
mine dies
agree.
with
Like
me.
I didn't even think about the Viserys Corlys, like, you know, relation kind of, or you know, they're doing the same things. But that's cool. That's an interesting angle
yeah,
on it.
It
good
is.
stuff.
So we're almost done, guys. We're almost wrapping up here. Rhaenyra and we're back on Dragonstone. Rhaenyra and Sir Alfred, the one gentleman on her council that keeps giving her the most hell. They meet, and Rhaenyra basically offers him the chance to go to Harrenhal to collect Daemon, bring him back home. And
It was really high, man.
he's kind of like, are you just sending me away because you don't want to deal with me? And she's like, I really appreciate your banter with me, but no, this is important. I can't trust a raven that Damon will dismiss. I need to send somebody that will talk to him, kind of thing. And he's like, you know, like, is there a reason? And she suspects that Damon has intentions to rise up for himself. Sir Alfred thinks that's ridiculous, preposterous, but you know, Rhaenyra is right on the money with this. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, and then it's so funny. He's like, "Is there any message you would like me to give him?" And she's like, "Oh, I'd like to continue the conversation that we had." Like bringing in like almost typical like marital
Stats, yeah, like type of like,
you
yeah,
know, at the end of the day they are married. Like yes, they are like whatever, but they are married.
yeah.
So
Got
anyway,
another quick comment here.
Corlys is so adamant that Luke be his heir over Baelor and Rhaena. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, I think you guys are onto something. I think that's some good points being made there in the chat here tonight. Some good takes.
Guessing. It's gonna keep me guessing now.
Well, it's given me 10,000 more things to think about. So this is great. Guys, you don't know, like if nobody knows yet, like go watch our episode. This stuff is like just hit me right here. I love this stuff. I'm here. I love this
Yeah, it's good.
conversation. I can talk about it
Yeah,
and watch it 17,000 times a day. I'm good.
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's got me hooked. Don't worry. I watched it 4 times
Damon,
already.
Damon lays awake in bed. In this next scene, he keeps hearing voices and steps. Anyway, Sir Simon barges in to his room saying that the River Lords have come to speak with him urgently. And he makes a funny comment saying, like, oh, is the pudding ready? Is the pudding ready? Like, is that what he
Yeah.
says?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of pudding, yeah.
Yeah, so he enters the hall and all the River Lords are there and they're pissed. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, should I give you a like what are you waking the king from his bed? Again, he calls himself the king. What are you waking the king up like from his bed for? And
slumber.
again, now this for me got a little lost in translation. I was trying to like make notes. I'm like, I don't know what the hell is happening. They're basically pissed. I think that the Blackwoods, in their attempt to overtake the
So
Brackens, exploited the people, like the other common
so
folk.
So my takeaway was as it was official that they had taken over and like you said, like now they're all going to be under his banner essentially, Damon's. They went overboard. They raped. They pillaged. They did, and I wrote down because something was funny that he said that he wrote like some guys like works of barbarity were God's here, and I started laughing just because of the choice of words. But yeah, that's what happened. They went a little overboard in terms of their takeover. It was like a hostile takeover where they just came in there and they stole shit from them. Like it wasn't like, hey, we won, we surrender. Okay, we're all boys now. It was we won. Now we're gonna take advantage of the situation and like destroy shit and rape your women and apparently children were killed. There's things like that happened. I think they were saying, yeah. Okay. So you got it right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Damon, he's works of barbarity.
There's quite a few of them in there.
Yeah, so Damon, he starts hallucinating again. He sees Lena, his wife, or his late wife, sorry, who basically asks if he's taking care of their girls, like Nico mentioned about the Bela thing. So that was that. But then he snaps out of it, and the Lords say that they will not raise their banners for a tyrant. So I mean, Damon he kind of rules with an iron fist, so he's kind of maybe have to scale back a little bit. Like if this is how he's going to rule or thinks he's going to rule and gain the love of the people.
Well, you see those comments there? Yeah.
I didn't even consider this.
Yeah, that you know what? It actually makes sense because there was no food this time. That's why he asked that comment. Is the food ready yet? Right? Like, because it's always something when he wakes up.
Guys.
Right?
Very observant. Yeah. That's a good.
Every time he wakes up, and he didn't wake up until afterwards, until right now, with the scene you're getting to after the wife, right? So,
but what would that?
I mean, after watching it 4 times,
what would that mean if it's not real though? Like that, none of this actually occurred. Like he
tripping out. Like, is he there even with? Is he there by himself? Not. Like sometimes I'm wondering that. How many people has he talked to? Is he really talked to these people, or has he been tripping the whole time? Like when he wants to, he's still waiting for the Bracken and them to,
there you go, Raymond.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a great job.
For you to put it up, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do here. Great job, absolutely, Raymond.
Ready, coming through with everything. I was tripping out because I was like, "Who's Raymond?" for a second. Then I looked at her name.
Yeah, thank you.
True. See, exactly. Like he's not fit to rule. He thinks he is because he's like this big tough guy, but he's not.
I think something's wrong up here. I don't think he's all there.
No, of course he's hallucinating. But if the scene was real,
I don't think it's all about hallucinating though.
Or if it's not real, and whatever. Like I think Alice, the witch, has like something to do with it. I think she's manipulating his visions. Because like
and this is where that
conversation about him being like, oh, I don't care how tyrannical these people are. Yeah, I don't.
This is where Nico's comment too about the what's her name that could be the only one that passes through these 2 shows could be coming into effect, right? And we're not seeing it. It's kind of hidden. Yes. I don't know. I haven't gone through it, as much. I haven't thought of it as much, but I'm thinking about it as we're talking about it right now. And how I watched it, right? So I'm wondering.
Yeah, thanks, Sandra Days. I think like you had said in your comment, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, maybe it is. I don't know.
Nope.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, it's live for a second there. Go ahead. Go again.
Oh no, I think like I wonder if there is a manipulation there. Maybe I'm not reading that, but maybe there is a manipulation there from Alice because he is so tyrannical against his crimes against women, children, the weak, like all of that. I think maybe if she is kind of playing with his visions, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
it's
never even
hard.
thought about that. It's like crazy.
I didn't either, but it's hard to determine or take anything for granted right now because of the fact he's been tripping out for 3 episodes. That is a good point. I mean, we as viewers are just taking everything at face value, but you're right. He's been cutting in and out of moments. He's been like drifting off into space. He's having straight up illusions that are happening to him. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's imagining people that aren't there. It's very possible. Anything's possible at this point with this situation. I just never thought of it in that sense. So it's true. It could be. Those are some good connections that you guys are making, though. There's some good theories going on here, possibly.
So the next few scenes are just like quick little quips, like just little like scenes here and there. But they're like the tone is it's a dark, stormy night. There's thunderstorms, there's tons of rain, it's whatever. But you see like one scene of Rhaenyra pacing her room. She's getting her hair braided, getting ready for bed or nighttime or whatnot. Then you see her servant that she had sent out has entered King's Landing and asks one of the King's Guard, that she's there from Mysaria, the White Worm. She has to meet with an old friend. He lets her in or helps her find a way in. She goes and meets with the maid, Diana, from earlier, I think it was season 1, that Aegon had raped and Alicent needed to give her that drink.
Yeah.
There's that scene. Then you see Sir Alfred riding through the forest with his band of merry men. Corlys is sitting on his throne in Driftmark and he's looking outward. He has the hand of the queen pin in his hand. So there's all these different things that are just playing. And then there's one with Aemond. He's standing in front of the chair, the iron throne. He's staring at it, and then there's kind of a little pan over. His sister Helena is behind him and kind of catches him a little surprised, but not off guard too much. And she's like, was this worth the prize?
Yeah. Was it worth it? Yeah.
Was it worth it? And then it cuts to
was the price. Was it prize or price? I thought it was price, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was the price.
Probably be right. I don't. It was something along those lines. Prize.
Right. Yeah.
Was it worth it? And then the next scene, Aegon's in bed. He's bandaged up, really struggling to breathe. You could hear it. He's really struggling. Alicent is sitting by his side. She's giving him a little bit of motherly affection, rubbing the side of his face. Maybe just enough to muster out of guilt, more likely. And then she gets up and leaves. And as she's walking away, they're panning around the room and then they have like an over the shoulder shot of him and he's actually awake. Like he calls mummy, like he calls out to her, which again, it's just like, oh, like this is not like the first time that they've like had these awkward, oh my God. Anyways, it's just.
That's also funny too, because it kind of reminded me of when she took care of Viserys in the beginning. He was younger, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's in the same bed, he's in the same room, the injuries are almost the same, they're just on the opposite side. Is the blacksmith's name Hammer? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, that's a pretty sick name. That's a pretty sick name if it is.
Ooh, Hammer. I like that.
I don't think so. I personally don't think he's going to go that far, but I guess we'll see because I think he's gotten what he wanted out of this situation. He's now taken over, so I don't think he actually is going to kill him like do the final blow. He's already messed him up enough at this point. What do you guys think?
I don't think so, but I mean, like, if he doesn't, I think Aemond, he's just so much more powerful than Aegon, like in mind, not just like physically. I think he's just like in his mind, he's just so much more like powerful and strong that I think it's like, even if Aegon survives this and like comes up and is ruling or whatever, I think Aemond is always going to have him like under his thumb kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he won't have
exactly.
to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could see that. I mean, I could see him doing something like that. I could see him being sneaky like that to his brother,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question, but we'll see. A few more episodes for the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then the
I
last
know it's making me
scene,
nervous, man. Already.
we've made it to the last scene, guys. It's here.
Great
We're in
job. Great job. Great
home
job.
stretch. Rhaenyra is in the library at Dragonstone. Jace returns from his little adventures to the Freys, the twins. Um, she's looking over Targaryen histories and whatnot. He goes over and he makes mention of Visenya. And Visenya has been mentioned a handful of times in Game of Thrones and even in this show. She was Aegon the Conqueror's sister wife, I think sister and wife, and she was Vagar's first rider, and she was also the first wielder of Dark Sister, the sword that um, the current Aegon now has.
Curious.
Um, she was apparently, I don't know, she every time she's mentioned, whether it's in Game of Thrones or here House of the Dragon, she doesn't have a great reputation. I again, I don't know too much about it. They don't really get into it, but Jace is very much like, oh, I hope you're not taking, inspiration from Visenya, and Rhaenyra is like, well, why not, kind of thing. Like maybe I should, like, why not? So then she asks him, like, how did it go with the twins? Kind of being a little coy about it, like not wanting to be too upset. But anyways, he says, and then he reveals the trade with Harrenhal protection, the dragons, the bent knees, all of that. She's thankful for his efforts. She appreciates it. So even though she's upset, it's not necessarily at him. She reveals that she's upset and restless because she is, like him, a dragon rider, wants to go out and do something. She hates that she's stuck in her castle. She understands why, but she doesn't like it. Helpless, wants to do something. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss for words, kind of thing. And then she makes a comment that she needs dragons. And Jace reminds her that they are sitting on a dragon hill and they have dragons beneath them, two of which he mentions, because in this conversation they're talking about, like they lost Elise, who was their biggest dragon, against Vagar. And she's like, well, who are we going to send? You and your dragon? Or like, you can't
Babies.
fight Vagar. It's a baby. You're going to end up like Luke, all of this. Anyway, so apparently there's a couple dragons that have no riders or unclaimed, that are under, like, at Dragonstone, called Vermithor and Silverwing, and they are large. They're larger than Meleese. So
Younger too, no?
no, I don't
You
know
would
if they're
think younger.
younger. They're younger than Vagar for sure, but I don't know if they're younger than
Yeah.
Meleese. I just know that they're bigger. So to
Yeah.
me, if they're bigger, that means they're older. I don't know if that matters. We haven't seen. I think I made this mention last episode. I think we saw Vermithor when Damon went down there and he was singing that Valyrian song. Um, but I don't know. Like, anyways, then they're talking about, well, we need riders, and then Rhaenyra is like, well, they need to be of Valyrian blood, old Valyrian blood. And
Yeah.
Jason's like, well, why don't we look at bloodlines? There's people that have been in the bloodlines that have married. Yeah, and they have other smaller ones too, of course, but these two specific were the bigger ones that were mentioned, to go against Vagar. So we'll
Yes.
see. Um, yeah, so he's
Wow.
talking about bloodlines and talking about maybe we need to start looking through the history books and try to find long lost Targaryen
Ancestors.
whatever. And then Rainier is like, well, they need to be like dragon lords to like qualify, or so the histories say. And Jace was like, I think those histories were just written to like gild us of our glory, so. And then this also plays into the whole, like, well, like maybe
It
that's
does play
how
into the bastards scenario.
Maybe that's how Jon Snow was able to ride Rhaegal. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I
We'll
mean.
see.
It plays into that whole scenario, right? If
Even
you
though
have
he would
that
have
blood,
been the heir
maybe.
to the throne. I don't know how that works. Anyways, it doesn't, like, it is what it is. Like, so there was a lot of things that were brought up in this conversation. Yeah, it was great.
It left
And
us with a lot to think about at the end of this episode, though. I can't wait to see where this goes now. Like, this was the perfect note to leave on this episode. And Christina, you had mentioned this earlier on in one of our episodes about the fact that there was other bigger dragons or just big are underneath them. I forgot about that scene when he was going. And now there's the possibility that they're going to have people that aren't full Targaryen blood that are going to be riding them. So to see who that could be, or to see these new dragons, I can't wait. Like, this is it's very interesting.
As where the common folk are splitting in some scenarios, this could actually bring some of them back together in that sense. Because if they have some, some of the ones that have the history or the ancestry of the, have some Targaryen in them.
That's what makes me think that like Hammer is one of them, because he's got bleach blonde hair like a Targaryen, and he seems to have been like one of the common folk that are really like highlighted this season. So
let's not forget, there was the guy that was in the bar a couple of episodes ago that said he was the bastard, one of the bastard's son. And we were like, why is this guy mentioning this story? Like, it seemed to come out of nowhere. The guy right. And then they didn't believe him. They're like, he doesn't look like a Targaryen or whatever. And he explained. So, I mean,
a lot to keep in mind, and where the storyline can go right now, man, and where it could be the fall of the Targaryens to the rise, and at certain points, like it really starting to lead up that way slowly. That maybe could fit, another prequel in between it. Who knows, man? As like we were talking to in the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be
it's
interesting.
fucking scary to know, and scary to see where it's all going, because it really leaves you with a big mind fuck at the end of the day. And we got a week to think about it, or well, now we have half a week. But yeah, man, obviously, like I said, I haven't read any of the books or anything like that, so who knows, right? But I mean, this is interesting to see all this stuff and how it's playing out.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's sure plenty of hungry non-Valyrian small folk would die trying to bond with dragons when the blacks begin offering coin for potential dragon riders. Yeah.
It's a very good point. They might even have to give them coin. They might give them meat. That's all they want. Apparently,
something. Even just to be heard. When they're so desperate for.
Well, I think their loyalty is definitely going to sway based on the way they've been treated lately, and if there's an opportunity for them over on Dragonstone with these, to be, rubbing shoulders with these other Targaryens, I think they're going to take it.
Yeah,
she's always trying to betray peace, right?
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rhaenyra still has, she might look like, I know Nico, like earlier you had said it might look like she's losing at this point, but it's not lost.
No, I think she could slowly be winning, and underneath her, the way her mentality thinks, she could slowly be winning, in a sense, because I'm still not completely on any team yet. I'm going to be that one that's a little independent right now, because honestly, I still believe that Rhaenyra wants peace. I think Allison somewhere in there wants peace, but she just doesn't know how she can get it anymore. She already said that she knows there's going to be a war regardless. But at the end of the day, I still think at the end of everything, I think Rhaenyra still wants peace, and she's always been about that, and their father raised her to be like that. So I just think her situation hopefully plays out better than, and gets the other people to join her side, as opposed to everybody that got stuck in King's Landing there.
At a certain point, though, they're gonna force her hand. She's running out of options here, Jay. Though you gotta remember that, like, she can only lay dormant for so long. I mean, if it's not gonna be herself who fights her battles as she's been trying to so far, and they've been resisting it, someone else is gonna have to. So I think something's gonna happen. Like, something has to give at this point in this war for her to get any sort of upper hand. And this could be the turning point in this whole dragon situation, right? So very interesting stuff.
And it'll leave you with something hanging at the end of the season. I guarantee it. It's going to leave us with fucking hunger so bad at the end of the season. And I hate that there's only 3 episodes left now. Is it 3? Yeah. I hate that there's only 3 episodes left now, because after 2 years of being so hungry for this show again, it leaves it it's going to leave us as much as we like to, it might leave us. It's going to leave us with a cliffhanger. I feel at the end of the season, and I just don't know where it's going to be and where it's going to lie. So I'd like to see what happens there, man, because I'm already scratching my head. You know how I always kind of shoot out of a cannon. If I wasn't for me being stuck in this car tonight, guys, I'd be out of a cannon over at Nico's, going talking crazy about this show. You know that, right? Because I just can't get
Absolutely.
enough of it.
Lazy Eye, once again, with a great take here about the meat being a prominent theme of this episode and kind of how that relates to people's hunger and about the uprising of these people. They'll plant the idea in people's heads that the source of power of the Targaryens is an undefeatable. These guys looking forward to it. Yeah. Great stuff, guys.
You know, like, and at the end, what was that with the mad sword thing? I didn't get it.
What are you talking about?
There was a
Mad
part
sword.
where he suggests trying the other people, yeah, and their bloodlines, right, and stuff like that, and maybe schools of them out there. In the mad, and something about the mad sword was said. I don't know what the heck that. I thought I heard mad sword
I
or
don't know.
something right at the end there, man. I mean, I watched it 4 times, so I'm pretty sure I heard the right thing, but I could be wrong. I
He's
watch it
turning
more
into
than you,
me.
Christina.
I know you're turning into me. What is happening?
I
It's
didn't
fucking
catch
me
it.
up, this show.
If anybody knows, feel free to mention it though. But yeah, let's congrats, Christina. This is great. Good
Yeah.
job on it. I know you've taken notes before, but great job. This was a lot to take in this episode. Like you said, filler episode, my
Okay.
ass. A lot of things to cover in this one. Sometimes the
not-
filler episodes have the most smaller
Yeah.
scenes though for you to cover in while doing these notes.
It's not like a war episode where like half of it is just battle and you just be like they fought, they're meh.
Right.
No, I literally have like 17 pages of notes. Like it was insane. My finger was indented.
Oh, on what?
On your grace.
Okay.
I don't know. Had something to do with the mad sword that I thought I heard.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, great job, Christina. I hate to do it to you. I might ask if you can do it next week because I might be and I'll do the final 2 episodes.
I would love to. And I'd
Okay.
love for
I
all
got
of our
9. I
new
got 9 pages.
subscribers to join.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone to join. Let's get this going.
Yeah, only the most thorough fans over here. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Lacey. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you to Christina once again, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you can, please, to the channel. We have a playlist of all the episodes we've done. We've done all the episodes of Game of Thrones, and we're currently doing House of the Dragon episodes live weekly, Wednesdays at 9. So make sure to tune back in, take part in the chat next week. We'll be here for the next 3 weeks doing this for the new season of House of the Dragon, and thank you. Oh, there you go. She was the queen. Christina said she was the queen earlier. Great job. Absolutely. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, you added a lot too, guys. Thank you for taking part in the chat here tonight. It was great.
That was fantastic.
Fun, man.
Loved it. Loved it.
Wait to see
All right.
wait to see Nico and us back in our true form when we're behind the mics.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We'll see you guys hopefully next week. Once again, thank you, everybody. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Great job, Christina. Do you want to sing us out?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Whoa. Here, let's do this.
Yeah, you're the host, and you're like everything tonight.
Good evening. All right.